Don't let desires control you. The path to spiritual growth. While desires are part of the human experience, there's a compelling argument in spiritual teachings to relinquish not only the bad desires, but even the seemingly virtuous ones. This paradoxical notion may seem counterintuitive, especially in a world that upholds virtuous intentions. However, within this seemingly paradoxical perspective lies a deeper understanding of the transformative journey towards self-realization. Desires, whether they are perceived as good or bad, spring from the well of vital energy within us. They represent a natural inclination to seek fulfillment and progress in various aspects of life. Good desires may include noble aspirations such as compassion, kindness, success, or self-improvement. In contrast, bad desires may encompass ego-driven cravings, attachment, or harmful intentions. However, as the spiritual teacher and yogi Sri Aurobindo accurately and deeply noted, if there are good desires, bad desires will come also. There is a place for will and aspiration, not for desire. If there is desire, there will be attachment, demand, craving, loss of equanimity, sorrow at not getting. All that is unyogic. His insights underscore the interconnectedness of desires, highlighting how the presence of one category can pave the way for the other. The essence is that all desires, regardless of their moral quality, have the potential to tether us to the material world. They may lead to attachment, demands, cravings, and a loss of inner equanimity, ultimately veering us away from the path of spiritual growth. In the context of spiritual development, quiescence is a state of inner calm, serenity, and emotional stillness. It is a profound state of being that transcends the incessant fluctuations of desire, both good and bad. The cultivation of quiescence is pivotal on the path to self-realization, as it leads to a deeper connection with the divine and a liberation from the ego's constant demands. Relinquishing desires, even good ones, may appear as a paradox in the pursuit of virtue and self-improvement. However, from a spiritual standpoint, it is a practice of transcending the worldly attachments and egoic cravings that hinder our spiritual growth. It doesn't mean abandoning noble intentions, but rather elevating them to a level of selfless aspiration and surrender. Moreover, this does not negate the state of fullness, joy, happiness, and bliss, Ananda. However, it is not a changeable state dictated by the ego clinging to external results or circumstances. We are too accustomed to feeling desires as part of ourselves, which makes it more difficult for us to deal with movements, their power, and dismiss its control over us. This habitual identification with desires forms the basis of our attachments, entangling us in the illusion of a false self. We have a tendency to weave these desires into of our self-concept, blurring the lines between the authentic self and the transient vital force of desires. The journey towards liberation from the control of desires necessitates a conscious untangling of our true essence from the fleeting cravings of the ego. Through self-reflection and mindfulness, we can begin to distinguish between the genuine self, which is beyond the fluctuations of desire, and the illusory self that seeks fulfillment in external confirmations. Recognizing that desires are transient visitors rather than intrinsic aspects of our identity allows us to approach them with a newfound clarity. Instead of succumbing to their power, we gain the ability to observe them from a detached vantage point. This detachment does not imply a suppression of desires, but rather a profound understanding that we are not defined by them. The practice of detachment becomes a transformative tool, enabling us to reclaim control over our actions and responses. The promises of quick and accessible paths to materializing desires, often labeled as positive thinking or the law of attraction, have proliferated across self-help seminars and motivational speakers. While these practices and teachings may have their merits in certain contexts, they frequently carry the allure of instant gratification, making them susceptible to misinterpretation. Many modern pseudo-spiritual practices and teachers of personal growth have shifted their emphasis towards the cultivation of desires. The narrative often revolves around the idea that by fervently desiring and maintaining unwavering positivity, one can manifest their aspirations with ease. This perspective, however, overlooks the profound complexities of human consciousness and the intricate journey of spiritual development. The promises of instant materialization of desires, simplistic methods, and the deceptively straightforward nature of these teachings may lead individuals into the trap of naivety. Authentic spiritual growth and transformation are intricate processes that extend beyond the mere fulfillment of material desires. It encompasses a profound understanding of one's inner self, a connection with the divine, and the transcendence of ego-driven attachments. True spirituality calls for inner purification, self-awareness, and the development of virtues such as compassion, patience, and humility. The allure of quick fixes and simplified solutions may promise immediate gratification, but they often lack the depth and authenticity that traditional spiritual teachings provide. It is essential to recognize that the journey of spiritual growth requires inner work, patience, and a comprehensive understanding of one's consciousness. The inclination to connect spirituality with the fulfillment of desires is a common misconception. While higher powers may reward individuals by manifesting their higher force through them, this is distinct from the fulfillment of personal desires, except perhaps the desire for spiritual realization itself. On the contrary, our desires stem from our lower nature and are often driven by the forces of the lower vital. Obviously, the higher powers do not have the goals for the manifestation of our lower nature or the demands of the ego. It is therefore essential to be honest with oneself and discern whether one wishes to align with the lower nature in pursuit of desires or whether he strives for spiritual realization. Indeed, spirituality and desires can be fundamentally incompatible at times. It is crucial to understand that positive thinking and manifestation of desires are not always aligned. In fact, they can sometimes be diametrically opposed. Throughout history and in our daily lives, there are countless examples of individuals achieving their desires without adhering to the principles of positive thinking. Often they employ aggressive tactics and may not always act with integrity. In such cases, their desires may never have been fulfilled if they relied solely on the power of positive thinking. While maintaining a positive attitude towards success is important, unfortunately, in fiercely competitive environments, positive thinking often falls short against uncompromising thinking. The pursuit of desires frequently involves competition, attempts to outmaneuver others, and aggressive strategies. The spiritual path is not a path of romanticizing one's desires, but rather, on the contrary, a path of sincere recognition of the nature of one's desires, thoughts, and reactions. As seekers on the path of spiritual development, it is vital to distinguish between pseudo-spirituality that focuses solely on the fulfillment of desires and the profound wisdom that guides individuals towards genuine transformation. The true essence of spirituality lies in the unearthing of deeper truths, the cultivation of inner virtues, and the embrace of a selfless and compassionate way of living. On the path to self-realization, giving up attachment to desires and stopping their influence on us, according to spiritual teachings, is an important step. It's a reminder that desires, whether virtuous or otherwise, can bind us to the material world. By aspiring for vital immobility and quiescence of emotions, we pave the way for the profound transformation that enables us to transcend desires, embrace the divine, and truly walk the path of spiritual growth.